morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the 16th of January. 16th of January. We're halfway through the month. Ooh. Oh, I feel a little tough to say. Halfway through the month. Good morning. 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 Welcome to the Makers and Movers podcast on this fine Friday, January 16th. Now, what are we talking about this episode? This episode, we're talking about the skills that you did not realize that you learned last year. Oh, well, what are you talking about, Todd? What are you talking about? Well, we're talking about, a lot of people will look back on last year and they immediately judge it by one number, revenue, right? If sales didn't skyrocket, they kind of labeled the year as a miss or a small or even worse as a failure. So uh, mindset, ignores something critical. Most of that real growth does not show up on spreadsheets. Right? I'm sure last year taught you things, important things, skills that just quietly changed how you operate, how you communicate, how you even just show up, even if the income didn't explode. And, these are those invisible wins that really make future growth possible. And when you don't acknowledge them, you know, you can carry some unnecessary doubt into the next year. So today we're going to, talk about just slowing down just enough to recognize the skills that you did actually gain last year, and the ones that compound, the ones that build confidence, and the ones that prove that you are way further along than what you think. Now, if it's your first time here, a long time here, I didn't know who you are, where you're from, what's in your cup, and what the weather is like in your area. Big thing I need you to do is go hit that like and subscribe button and share, because since we don't know what is going on at the TRW channel, we're kind of having a powwow this weekend, and I think we're just gonna have to start uploading things here to make it all work, and that's what we'll do. So I think that's fair. We'll talk about that. So make sure to share, like, subscribe, all of that. Now, the other thing is I need five things. What are five things that you are going to accomplish today? And did I say who you are, where you're from, what's in your cup, what the weather's like in the area? Yeah, I think I did say that in your five things. For us, we got a busy day. Like our day is not going to end right now until probably 10 o'clock tonight, because we've got this morning. If we show you as a day in the life of you know Todd and Corey, I've been in the office since about quarter to six this morning. Got stuff done, got emails out, got orders ready to be printed, ready to be pulled, and then take kids to school. Now we have this here, and then after this, we have a mentorship call. And after that, I finalize any orders because our cutoff time is 11 Central, 12 in the East, and then we'll pull orders. We'll get pictures. We'll get media presentations taken care of. Today, we while that's going on, I've also got to respond for three store openings. So we're doing that, and we've got a couple other, maybe a few things that we might be able to work out with people. So we've got that in the early afternoon, and then it's time to get kids, and then from there we've got what do we got? I'm looking here down here. For after that, we've got stuff that needs to make sure our courier picks up, and then we've got a fundraiser at the school that we're helping with, and that's jumping, at the trampoline park. And then there we have about a 45-minute break before we have to go to skills training for baseball, and that goes till 9 o'clock. So by the time we actually eat dinner, it's gonna be like 9:10. Anybody else have nights like those? That's in the life of today. Um, Other stuff that we're working on, I'm looking to see on notes here. Don't forget, if you place an order today, all right, remember Monday, UPS, USPS are not delivering. So if typically we're a day out on, things that, if you're local to our 1 day shipping area, UPS, it means you're not going to get stuff possibly until Tuesday. Remember, you order on Monday, that stuff will be packaged, pulled, everything, and be waiting to get picked up, but they won't pick up on Monday. So just remind you, 3 day weekend. This is a holiday weekend. Remember that. Rustling, good morning to you. Jeff, good morning. Claire, good morning. It is gonna be an awesome day, even though we got snow and that, and we've got a big weekend, big weekend ahead of us. Uh, Good morning, all from Renee. 19, windy and snowing in Chicago, and water in the bottle, tea in the mug. Sort my top five. We got a busy weekend, Renee. Lania, good morning to you. Pasha, good morning. Snow flurries in the Ozarks, coffee in the cup, finish new designs, customer follow ups, and get ready for a date evening with my daughter to watch Majors cheer competition at 4. That sounds like fun. Happy Fun Day Friday. That's right. Barb, good morning. North Central Minnesota, 17 snow and wind. Water in the cup, 5 things. Quote, 3D printing, organized shop, bookshelf, digitizing, set up next to Brewer. Barb's got a busy day. I know, right? Renee, I had my appointment yesterday. You were the first one to say anything. Nobody in the family even noticed. Hmm? Nobody said anything. Nobody said, "Man, Dad, you cleaned up nice. Oh, you got your hair cut." You're no. Nobody said a thing. Story of my life. Story of my life. Uh, Hi, Wrestling Pasha, Jeff, Claire, and Renee from Barb. Ms. Naz, good morning to you. Hi, Barb. Hi, Barb. Jeff, howdy do? Feels like 14 there in Northern Kentucky. Already drank my Diet Wild Cherry Pepsi. 5 things, laser, more laser. Sort new window vent for the laser since I had to cut a hole in it. Cut a hole in the window? Or what are you talking about, Jeff? Do you get one of the windows that tell me more what you got to do? Because have you seen the zipper windows? They go in and remember the air conditioners that you put in the window and they go down like that? They have that same thing, but then it's so you can put holes in stuff and you don't have to go through the window. So I'm not sure if that's what you're talking about. Um, but then laser some more. Morning, Barb, Renee, Jerry, when she wakes up, right? Annette, hello, all. Rustline says, that's my everyday life as a parent business owner. You're right, Rustline. We are definitely like that. We're at the table. It sounds sad to say, we're at the tail end of it. Our youngest now, is last year in elementary school. And I told Corey, I was like, what are we going to do? We're rapidly running out of time. What are we doing? My order's coming today. Lots of sparkle. Ooh, I can't wait. Cliff, what was in your order? Was it all the glitter? Was it all the glitter or twinkle? Or was it all the stones? Which one? What did you get? What did you get? Good morning to you as well. All right. So, what do you say? Let's just dive right into this. All right. Number one, you learned how to communicate better, right? Even if it was hard. Communication is one of the most underrated skills in our business. You know, Last year, let me take a guess. Probably forced you to explain any delays, forced you to set some boundaries, forced you to clarify some expectations, probably forced you to have some uncomfortable conversations too. And none of that, I bet, came naturally at first. Even if those moments really did feel messy, they trained you, right? You learned what customers misunderstood. You know what questions came up time after time after time, and really how to say no with a lot less guilt than before. And clear communication isn't about being perfect. It's just about being clearer than you were before. If things felt smoother towards the end of the year than at the beginning, that's not luck, folks. That's a skill that you gained that you didn't even know. So, some examples of this is a maker who used to panic over customer messages and now respond calmly, clearly, without having to over explain. Another one learned to set realistic timelines up front, and it really reduced the follow up emails and stress. So, think about this. What was one customer conversation that from last year that would have scared you 2 years ago? Just acknowledge how differently you handled it. All right. Number two, you probably got faster without cutting corners. Because speed isn't just about production, it's about decision making. Well, last year, you probably stopped overthinking some steps. You probably learned which materials work for you. You probably learned which materials don't work for you. You probably learned which processes worked for you and which processes didn't work for you. And you probably figured out where you were wasting a lot of time, right? And with that, you probably learned how long things actually take to make, not how long you wish they took. Yeah, I wish that took, 3 minutes to weed, 30 minutes later. You know, that awareness alone, man, that really does make you a better business owner. And even if you didn't realize it was happening, it happened, right? Efficiency really does grow quietly. You don't just wake up one day feeling fast, right? It's like I don't wake up one day just being skinny. You got to work at it, right? That's all you got to do. So on your end, you just realize that some of these things take a lot less energy for you to do than they used to do. Now, some examples of this is, a decorator who once needed hours to prep an order now moves it confidently and consistently in under 10 minutes, right? Another one learned that, which customer requests to avoid because it just drags down the entire process without enough payoff on the back end of it. So, for this, let's look back. What's one task that feels easier now than it did 2 years ago? You know, figure out, why. Why does it feel that way? That right there, that's proof of growth. Right? Now, number three, I am almost betting anything that you became a better problem solver. Right? I don't know about you, but for us, last year didn't go perfectly. That's exactly why we grew. Machines broke, orders went sideways, customers changed their mind. Somehow, we just handled it. You know, problem solving. It's not about avoiding issues. It's not about freezing up when they show up. You know, each challenge that you encountered last year, it trained your brain to adapt, to pivot, and to recover faster than before. The fact that you're still here right now, today, watching this, that means that you've figured out things more often than you've failed at things. Even if it didn't feel big or heroic at the time, you figured it out. All right. Now, some examples of this is, a maker dealt with a supply issue and learned how to create backup plans instead of panicking. You know, Another learned how to fix and recover from order mistakes without spiraling and refunding everything. Right? So, think of one problem that you had last year that really felt huge at the time. And then ask yourself, would that same problem, if it happened today, scare me as much? Now, before we get back into 4 and 5, check in, see what you hear. Uh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Stones, yes, I love the stones. Vent I did have. The hole was getting clogged and causing back pressure. Ooh, smoke out the basement. Yeah. Cleaned a few hours of work later. Dirty again. Need a bigger hole, so I cut a big hole. That makes sense. Yeah. I wasn't sure if you needed an inline fan to push it out. He's like, here, we'll run with that because of the wind. And so the vent, instead of it going out and dropping down, we do like the furnace vents where they come out and, instead of coming straight out, they dip down so they don't have that come back in. So there's nothing wrong with a big hole. There's nothing wrong with a big hole. Tim, good morning to you from cold Toledo, 21 outside, working on beanies, pressing logos of hat I made for the hockey league. I've also been cleaning the work area and working on sites. Way to go, Tim. Claire's got 29 and hot tea in the cup. Hoop my embroidery order. Lunch with folks. Come back, sew out jobs. Open TRW package. Woohoo! And hey there in Virginia. Very nice. Oh, is that? And what is that? What's is that? Crying? Crying there in Virginia? Raining? I can't see what's that little icon. So I know which one is there. And hi, Tim from Barb. All right. So, like I said, this doesn't, these work better when you guys interact, answer the questions, put in your thoughts, your feelings. Am I on base with these? Am I far off? I need your feedback on these so that way I know what direction to go with them. All right. Now, number 4, I bet. I just said that for the last one. I bet. But it's still probably the same. I know. Yeah, I'll go with I know. I know that your confidence quietly improved. Right? Confidence, it does not always show up as this big boldness, energetic, yeah, yeah, rah, rah, I can do everything. Sometimes it's just as simple as less second guessing, fewer apologies, or just trusting your instinct way more than the outside noise around you. And last year, You probably did stop asking for permission. Asking for permission from who, Todd? Well, from customers, from other makers, the internet, right? You made decisions faster. You trusted your experience. And that confidence, even if that confidence, even if it didn't feel loud, you trusted it, right? Now, you don't need to feel fearless to be confident. You just need to keep moving forward despite the uncertainty that's going to come. And some examples of this is a maker stopped with some Facebook groups for validation and trusted their own judgment. Another one, they raised prices. They didn't raise them huge, but they raised them and they did it without backing down when they were questioned. So look at everything last year. What's one decision that you made last year without without outsourcing it to social media for their input? That's confidence in action. And now, number 5, you know, I think we all of us should have experienced this last year, right? We learned what doesn't work. And man, that counts, right? Because learning what doesn't work, it is just as valuable as finding out what does work. Last year probably showed you, which products you hate making, which customers drain you, and which platforms really just aren't worth your time. And those lessons, those save future energy. They help you narrow your focus instead of chasing everything. You know, clarity oftentimes comes through elimination, not not expansion. Excuse me, my belly just expanded there a little. Excuse me. Uh, if something didn't work and you stop doing it, guess what? That's progress. That's not failure. So some examples of this is a maker just stopped offering low profit customs that cause stress and resentment. Like, we just stopped doing that. How much would that help? You know, Another realized that just certain sales events weren't worth their effort and shifted their focus elsewhere. So for this, let's just make a short not doing this again, list for, based on last year. And this list is really going to protect your future with it. So to recap all this, here's the 5 skills that I bet you gained last year. You know, Even if revenue stayed flat, I'm sure you still learned this stuff. You learned how to communicate more clearly and confidently. You worked faster because you knew what mattered. You solved problems instead of freezing up. Your confidence, it improved quietly in very, very powerful ways. And you learned what doesn't work and you just let that go. Growth is not always loud. Sometimes it just looks like stability and clarity and just really just staying in the game. If you're building and still learning and still showing up, you are not behind. What are you doing? You're building skills that compound. And those skills, well, that's what makes this year possible. So give yourself a pat on the back for what you learned. You deserve it. With that, we'll wrap up today. Questions, comments, concerns, let me know in the comments. Let me see, let me go pull up next week. What do we got Monday? Monday. Where is Monday at? Is it right there? No, where is Monday? Monday's right there. Nope, that's not Monday. Where is Monday? There it is over here. Monday. Ooh, yeah, Monday. We're talking about customers. You know, your customers are telling you stuff. Are you listening? Questions, complaints, requests. They are they're talking to you more than you think, and that's just not through like reviews, but they're like questions and complaints and repeat requests and just even being quiet. You know, a lot of times we can treat those isolated instances as your customer's weird. You know, that's an annoying question, or just a random complaint because somebody's upset. But sometimes when you zoom out, you can see that patterns start to show up, and those patterns can really make your business decisions a lot easier. So we're going to, talk about how to listen differently to customer behavior and really use it as real feedback instead of just, emotional noise. So that's what we're working on for Monday for you. All right. We burned through that. So we've got the mentorship community in about 37 minutes. For all else, here's what we got. Looking forward on how this month goes, we're at YouTube's mercy as to what's happening with the channel. So, I'm kind of outlining some things this weekend, where I can just kind of sit back and really focus on it. I do believe that everything will end up over on this channel. We are going to kick building out our community into overdrive. So that way, come February 1st, for all of the YouTube members, the Hall of Fame members, Little League members, Major League All Stars, we'll have that community ready to go. For our mentorship community, that will be ready to go. There'll be two different sides of it. I guess there'll be more sides of that. There's going to be a general wizard, so everything wizard related is going to be there. Everybody will have access to that. There'll be a video training, so there'll be the Hall of Fame. Will have their separate area with all their stuff. The All Stars will have their separate area with all their stuff, and then the mentorship community will have its area with all of the information there. And then they'll kind of be the combo one where here you want to be able to see it all. You want the mentorship community, and you want this. We're gonna have that bundle. So the levels are there, and that's the goal next week. Is so we've got 15 days left in this month to get that all wrapped up. So then everything is there, and then it's all on the thing, all on the platform that we own. And we'll have videos, we'll have all that. So that's what we're looking at. All right, let's see. Tim, I cleaned, oiled, greased all my multi noodles and ran tension stitch test. That is total foreign language to me, but I'm sure it's an amazing thing, Barb. You'll tell me more about it. This is like we know this. I wanted a burrito machine, but I don't know nothing about it. I did get the 3D printer unclogged. Proud to say that we worked through that issue, and that was fun. That was really fun. And they say I've gotten better at saying no. It is a complete sentence. 100% it is. Good for you, Renee. And thanks, Barb. All right, we're gonna wrap this up. Everybody have an amazing weekend. Big weekend, folks. Go Bears. Hey, I'm already stressing. Go Bears. That's what we got. Weather's going to be in our favor. Team's going to be in our favor. We're just going to sit on the sidelines for 58 minutes and come back and get it. Final score 24-17 Bears. See you in the NFC Championship game. God, I just made a prediction. Let's see how close I come to that. All right, you guys. So, Claire said you've been extremely transparent through all the challenges. It makes me so sad that you received ugly comments and you don't deserve that. And that's part of it. Like everybody's entitled to, feel the way they feel. 100% feel the way you feel. The one thing I won't put up is when they just, openly attack the staff. At the end of the day, they are. I know this is gonna be bad to say. They're just videos, right? Everything can be re-recorded, so it may take us some time, but you'll get those videos back. You just got to re-record them, and we'll go through the most purchased videos that are there. Like the first step is all the wizard stuff and all of those videos. What have we saved? What do we need to do? What do we make move? So that's fine. And then the next will be the training ones, and we'll stop. We'll start at the top. Go in order of the most purchased ones because those are the ones that are available to the most people, and we'll work through that list. That's what's going to happen if it doesn't come back. And we'll just go through and little by little. And then if it does come back, the first thing we're going to do is go in and download some of those so we have it. So if something happens, we don't have to worry about it. So we'll get through it. But there are some people who, think that their world is falling apart because they're not sure how to do something. And even though we said you can email in, hey, I have this video, it doesn't, I'm not able to access it. How do I do this? Have to help. So we'll get through it all together. We got a lot of important stuff lined up going on for it. I made some purchases on some things that we'll see. We've got a fun thing coming next week. If hopefully we're gonna hope that it shows up before Corey heads to Long Beach. If not, we'll get to rub it in her face while she's gone. If you are going to Impressions Expo in Long Beach next week, let me know. Corey and April will be out there. So maybe you guys can, meet up, and she's gonna be walk the trade show floor and see what's going on with that. So yeah, we will get through it all and go with it. All right. Until next time, you guys have an amazing day. Peace, love, press on. We will see you then. Can I get hit the button?